Hi, my name is Ying, and with us is Kenny from Reach Counselling Services. And in this episode, Kenny will be touching on conflict management.
Word suggests it's about managing the conflicts because conflicts are a given in any relationship, be it between a parent and a child. And so likewise for couples, they will face conflicts, but the key to a lasting marriage is whether the couple is able to manage those conflicts and not allow those conflicts to escalate to the extent where the couple seeks separation or divorce. And so conflict management is knowing the skills to manage those conflicts. And why people get into conflicts, sometimes they get into a gridlock, where meaning to say that the conversations or the conflicts are unresolved, it gets nowhere. Every time the problem arises, the same conversation takes place and there's no resolution to it. So seeking counseling would be helping the couples to learn techniques and skills to manage those conflicts and to moving them from gridlock to a dialogue. Meaning to say that they accept that perhaps the problems that they are facing may not be solvable, but we can actually openly talk about the issues itself without escalating into a huge fight or thinking about even separation or divorce.
So, Kenny, when a couple approaches you and asks you, okay, right now, for example, they are in conflict in something,
Yes.
what is the best way would you advise to them to manage their anger when it comes to handling these conflicts?
I wouldn't say as counselors we advise, but we actually help them to identify their conflict pattern. And in that pattern, anger may be one of the factors that is maintaining the negative conflict cycle. And so we actually highlight to the couple or highlight to that individual to say that, hey, look, you may have an anger issue, and therefore that anger needs to be managed. Otherwise, if it's not managed, it can be an influence to escalate the conflict even further. And that's not good in how the couple can resolve their issues. And so if there is really a deep-seated issue with anger, we would normally suggest to that individual or to that spouse to seek individual counseling to manage those anger. So the other thing about anger is that can the individual or can the couple identify what triggers those anger reactions. So that would be one way to manage the conflict. Another technique would be in terms of communication. Do you start off addressing the issue with a very harsh startup, or do you start off gently? So, for example, if the husband comes back from his golf and he spends the whole day, and the wife may have felt neglected over the weekend, and the moment the husband walks into the door, the wife may just raise her voice and say, why come back so late? So that would mean a very harsh startup, and once you start off harshly, usually the other spouse would react with defensiveness. So there's already a barrier in their communication, and from there, the argument or the conflict can escalate if it's not properly managed.
So, for all things that you say, for it to stem from kindness?
Yes, I would say I think being respectful would be one. Of course, be kind in your words in terms of how you communicate with your spouse. And that is irrespective of how bad the situation is. If you can manage those emotions, you would be able to communicate in a more respectful way.
And to problem solve?
Yes, problem solve would not only be one spouse taking part in it, but both coming together and looking at the problem and say, okay, look, we have this problem. how can we solve this problem, or how can we do better in the next conflict in terms of managing the conflict.
Thank you so much for watching this episode, and do catch us in the next episode where Kenny will be sharing with us on infidelity and expectations of sex after marriage.
Thank you, Ing, for having me here. It's my pleasure.
Thank you for being here, Kenny.